Ready to go.
Well, welcome, ladies and gents. We've got, as you can see, a special guest here. We got none other than Bob Brown. Oh, no, wait. There it is, Bob Brown. The mysterious and lovely Bob Brown. I got to remember those buttons better. There's one in there that was a... There it is. That's the one I wanted.
Most people would probably go with that one, you know? There's a lot of people I piss off that would go with that one.
There is. Yeah, you got a few rivals out there in the arm wrestling
Well, I got
world.
people that I've pissed off in the world, and, you know, sometimes the truth hurts.
Yeah.
You know, it's interesting if, depending on who you are, people like that. They're like, you know why I ask you questions, Bob? Because you'll tell me the truth.
You give it to them straight?
Yeah.
You
I
give it
got
to them
people
straight?
I practice with.
Nice.
How do you think I'm going to do at Nationals? I think you're going to go 2-0. I mean, because, you know, I think the truth is better.
You like to put some money down on the sport too from time to time?
I love
You like to gamble?
Oh, well, and I know you're bringing that up because of me and Devon Larratt. We bet every time me and Devon, we're always betting. I'm sure over time I'm down with Devon.
Yeah.
We very rarely actually settle up because we're always doubling up, double down on the next one. And
Yep. And so
we
there's
see each other like once a year and we settle up, and that's what it is.
settle up at the bar afterwards
Exactly,
or something
of
like
course,
that. But
yeah.
cool.
I still owe John Milne $20.
For
I won a bet, and he actually took the time to put a $20 bill in the mail with a card. And I'm like, oh, man, and I got it. And I was like, yes, that's right, I win. And then the next bet I lost. And no, I have not taken the time to actually put $20 in the mail.
Send it
I'm
back
gonna wait till
to John
I see
Milne.
it. I
Oh,
forget
that's-
what the match was, honestly.
no, that's so good. But Bob, we're here. We're John Brzenk's home. John's at work.
John's working.
John's working. We're podcasting.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's quite the life. Where is home in the USA for you?
So I live in a town called Riverton, Utah, which is in the Salt Lake City Valley. John lived in Sandy, Utah. Also, we live 6 miles apart from each other, and trained together for 20 years. Practice was at my house on a weekly basis, and you know they were unbelievable practices.
And for anyone who doesn't know Bob, give me some credentials. Like you're the current Grandmasters world champion.
The current Grandmasters world champion, which means if you're over 50 and you're under 176 pounds, I can probably kick your ass.
You and I grouped up 2 days ago, and you're not easy to pin.
No.
You were telling me about how many years and what your arms evolved into.
Yeah, so I'm one of those hated sons of bitchin' kings move mother effers. That is as straight as my arm goes.
That's as straight as it goes.
This is as close as it comes in. So to give a little, like I'm assuming you can see the tabletop. If my arm's flat, that's where it stops.
That's it.
And now under pressure, it will go a little. It'll probably go to about here, straighter.
Mm-hmm.
But anything past that, you got to break that arm.
Yeah.
And
so you only lose when you sense I got to stand up now, otherwise something's going to blow.
Something's going to blow, right?
Yeah.
And now I've only really quote unquote been a King's Move guy this last year or so.
Yeah.
And only against elite pullers.
Yeah.
You know, and I've always said, and you know I'm probably pissing some people off. Sorry, Michael, I love you, I really do. Crazy George was the original King's puller that everyone called, King George, and I would challenge Crazy George. I'm like, look, I want to see you. You've won every Arnold you've ever won, and I've never said this to George, but you've won every Arnold there is to win. You've beat the true monsters of our sport.
Yeah. Yes.
I'd like to see you beat any of them or any amateur at a sit-down match.
Yeah.
Sitting down.
Because he's got to come forward.
He's got to come
this.
forward.
Yeah. Can he do it?
I have no idea. I doubt it.
George has always been someone that I personally have wanted to pull just for the IQ test that I feel like it is.
It is. It's a chess match.
Yeah.
It's not. It doesn't require strength. To beat George.
You can be elite, super heavy, and not get through if you go the wrong way.
I've seen Travis. Travis will say he pinned him. No, you didn't, Travis. Travis went, bam, stood up. Yay, I win. I'm like, dude, you didn't pin him. He never hit the pad. And however, that's a good one. However, boom, there'll be amateur arm wrestlers that give Crazy George that same 7-minute long match.
Yeah.
You know, and I love George. George is a great guy. I mean, he really is. I think there's a lot of matches he wouldn't win if his arm went straight. Michael Todd, I love the guy. I think there's a lot of matches he wouldn't win if his arm went straight.
Yeah.
Devon Larratt, most recently.
He's starting to do it, isn't he?
He's
like
starting
more
to
and
do
more.
it. He's starting to do it. And here's the funny thing about, you know, I had this amateur come to my practice. You need to teach me the King's move. I literally smacked him upside the head.
Yeah.
I'm like, dude, if your arm goes straight, you cannot, the King's move cannot be done within anyone's rules.
Yeah.
If your arm goes straight, it cannot physically be done.
That's mine now. It's not significantly bent, but it won't straighten.
Right.
And I feel like I kind of do the same thing as a King's mover, but I can't do it.
You're maintaining it with
I
power.
have to do it with a bicep.
Right. You're maintaining it with actual power. I saw you training Brzenk a little bit, and he was doing it. I'm like, oh, dear Lord. But maintaining it with actual power.
Yeah.
And I will grant you, it take, you know, even when you get me out there, I've got to tense up and fight off the last bit when you get to the tendon and the bone. I've got to fight that off with actual power. But I don't think the stop would have ever happened in the first place if it wasn't.
Well, when you pull against the King's mover, there is a very noticeable spike in resistance.
Right.
Like when I pulled you, I could move you. No, I can't move you. It's like, what is just here?
Exactly.
That I can't move.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I
I love the King's move. I think it's copped a bad rap.
It has copped a bad rap because people are doing it outside of the rules.
Yeah. I'm going to blame the WAL and their table.
Yes.
The long pad, the low pin pads has allowed genuinely straight arm King's
Genuinely
moves.
straight arm King's. And the thing is but their arm is over here in the losing position.
Yeah.
This part of their arm, the humerus bone, is at a downward angle, which means their shoulder is level than their elbow, and that foul should be called. And what'll happen is guys will go, whoom, come back up.
Yeah.
Boom,
And they
come
just dip into it.
They
get away with it.
They're just stupid looking.
Anyway, Bob, we're here in John Brzenk's home, and we've been listening to John analyze the top 8. He's been watching carefully. He watched Krasi and Kadecha pull. He's discovered that he's facing David Dadakan.
Right.
How do you think John's going to go in there? You know John better than most of us by a long way.
So here's the thing about John, that he is not a one-trick pony. Even people who aren't one-trick ponies really are. Like, they're great top rollers and decent hookers, or great hookers and decent top rollers. So when you're a top roller and you can't top roll someone, 99 out of 100 people are just going to try to either top roll harder or try to top roll in a slightly different way.
Yeah.
John will just flat out hook you.
Yeah.
If the top roll don't go, the very next match he might flat out hook you.
Yeah.
He
could press off the go too.
He can press off the go, and then he's got a lot within transition. He has full faith to go from a top roll, jump way behind and press. It's not, let me slowly work back here.
Yeah.
He just commits.
Just goes.
And he just goes because he knows once he gets there, he's still super strong.
You think John's versatility is going
to win the
match?
Yeah, because, I refer to him as a kid because he's a kid. I just discovered last night, he won the youth world championship just last year.
Yeah,
which
crazy.
means he's only 22.
Young. Yeah, I don't know. Leave us a comment if you know how old David Dadakan is. Comment it with certainty, because he seems older than, he looks like a 30-year-old. He's got a big beard and he doesn't look young to me. But
he has to be in November of 19. He had to be 21.
Yeah, okay.
He had to be 21.
So he's 22 years old.
21,
well, he's
22.
got heaps of room to go.
So now that's exactly. So that's the thing. When you're 21 years old,
and he looked fast.
You're your strength gains can continue to go up a lot more than when you're 50 years old.
Yeah.
Like, even if John came into this in his absolute top form, it'll only be the strongest he's ever been in the past. He's not getting any stronger.
Yeah.
No, and he's not
John said to me something the other day that I thought, wow, that's going to scare the arm wrestling world. John said he's never fully prepared for a match.
He never has.
He's never in his life fully gone all in on preparing for a match.
Nope, he never has.
And given all that John has done and how dominant, it makes me think, oh man. And he said, look, if I get through round one, I think I'll fully prepare. I think I'll properly give it my mind commitment to fully prepare, because I think John's a little worried that his shoulders aren't what they used to be.
Yep,
he knows his hand is still there.
Hand is still solid.
His hand is phenomenal.
Yep.
But I just can't believe that John has self-admittedly said he's never prepared. That to me is amazing.
The reality is if you go back far enough, when has he needed to prepare? There has always been not just a little gap between him and the next best guy. There was a huge gap between him and the next best guy. And then if you earmark that a little further and say within his own weight class, the gap was extraordinarily huge. So he's never had to really prepare.
Well, you and I did some rehab pulling yesterday.
Yep.
And we rehab pulled, and whilst rehab pulling with you on my right, I felt like I could just make minor adjustments.
Right.
John jumped up to do some rehab pulling, and I'm like,
you can't move.
I'm like, I can't let go of this grip because I lose everything.
Exactly.
And he's just sitting there.
He's just sitting there.
Rehab pressure.
Right. Exactly.
The man's pronation and cupping seems to be, you were telling me earlier, that's the thing that sets him apart.
That's what makes John. It's his hand and his ability. He doesn't, when he decides he wants to hook, the match goes to a hook. When he decides he wants to top roll.
I tried that with him the other day, and he said, you do anything, I'm putting it in a hook. And I'm like, okay.
Goes into a hook. Because just his hand ability to go like this or like this or like this. And it's great. And he can cup from a low position, from a high position, like just what we were just talking about. Most people only ever train their cup from a low position. Very, very few people train their cup from a high position. And they'll train knuckles up. Devon calls it rising.
Yep.
I call it knuckles up. And they'll train wrist curl, but they never train them at the same time, which is what every top roller should be training.
Yeah.
And I think John, just through his work, just through being a mechanic,
he's always been doing something.
Plus genetics. I mean, most people don't know his brother. Hardly anyone knows his father. Yeah. And I guarantee you, if his father stepped back onto the stage today at, I'm guessing, around age 70, would still scare some kids.
I think he'd have to, because John's 55 now, so he must be.
Well, so my dad's
late
78.
70s. Late 70s.
Yeah, my dad's 78, so I'm going to guess his is.
Yeah, must be late 70s.
Yeah.
No,
and his brother Bill.
David Dadakan, if you look at his style, he's fast. Without a doubt, he's fast.
That's the biggest problem for John.
Yeah, because John's not fast anymore.
He's a slow old man now.
You asked John yesterday if he's going to do any ready-go training between now and then, and he pretty much said no, because he knows how much it hurts.
How much it hurts his shoulder.
So
he knows what'll happen if he really slams into somebody.
There isn't really benefit, so he will just wait till the night and then do it.
And then try to do it. Exactly.
And then get ready for the months later.
But he'll never hit going really crashing. It's just going to be a little,
It's just going to be disengage you. My hand's stronger. What are you going to do?
That's what it's going to be.
And then gently, whilst managing his own shoulder,
100% right.
Pin his opponent.
Yep.
Yeah. So David Dadakan's speed is the one thing. John. So round one, there's a chance David wins. Round one.
I agree.
But I feel like round two, there's not.
I agree.
Yeah.
Because let's just, David, that's right. He's going to probably top roll. And he might hit John right to the pad. And then John's going to make a decision. He's going to go, my hand's not strong enough to stop the top roll. And he's just going to turn straight to a hook. And David's going to think he's going to top roll again. He's not. Yeah. He's going to hook.
Yeah.
So,
It's going to be good. And then John against. Let's assume John wins that first round. Then I think he's going to have Oleg Petrenko by the way the draw goes. Who's the understudy of Andrei Pushkar?
Right.
A kind of a slightly smaller version of Andrei.
Right.
Come crashing down kind of guy.
Which I honestly think is good for John, because the Andrei Pushkards of the world, who stand straight up and basically go sideways, can be manipulated. If you're a top roller, they're allowing you to top roll. You got to have the strength to do it. If you're a hooker, you'll sink the hook. You'll be able to do what you want to do. Whether it works or not's another
Whether
story.
you get it in time is the question.
Exactly. And so, again, John will try to top roll, and if it doesn't work, he'll just try to hook.
And John's probably got the hand to do it. Like, getting a crasher to either turn in or go out requires hand. Less about side pressure, which John doesn't.
Right.
John doesn't have a lot of side pressure with his shoulder.
Right.
But he has the best hand still, I think.
And if he really wants to force that crasher in, put your hand up. I assume that
you want me to be the crasher?
No, you be the crasher. Most people will grab here and crash.
Yep.
John will grab there, crash. It's going in. If you're the crasher.
I can't imagine having hands that strong that you just like that. But whatever. I can't wait to see it.
A guy who can grab Cleve Dean that low and throw him into a hook.
Yeah.
You got a strong hand.
And then I think the guy that is the scariest for John's got to be Kugali Garbayev.
But he's got to get through Rustam Babayev, right?
Yeah.
At some point.
Yeah.
And, Rustam's a bad dude. Rustam is just, he's just a hooker who's a hooker who's a hooker who's a hooker.
Yeah.
And it's funny because he sets up like a top roller and then comes crashing down. And for a guy who pulls like this, you would think that Rustam's going to lose, and he so very rarely does.
Yeah. Well, it's going to be good. I think it's not that far away, in a couple of months. I think nothing's been officially released, but I think it's going to be April.
Right. I'm hoping.
I think it's going to be April. But
and then in the heavyweight division.
Yeah.
I'm telling you.
Oh man, we saw it yesterday. Dave Chaffee cleaned up Rimkus straight through, and he's drawn Levan.
Well, and I know that they like free drawed those things, and it was just luck that it played out that way. Shoot, man, if I'm PAL, I'm setting that stuff up so those two don't hit each other till the final. Yeah,
because that probably is the final right there. It should have been the final. I don't think Leighton could have beaten Chaffee. I don't feel, but Levan may. My gut feel is Levan deserves to be the favorite, but there's such a big but. I think Dave Chaffee has more side pressure.
I like to wager a little bit. Give me some odds. I'll take Dave Chaffee.
I want Dave Chaffee.
I know you want him, but you said you were going to give the edge to Levan.
Okay. Yeah, I get you. I want Dave Chaffee to win, but I feel like Levan.
I want Dave Chaffee to win, and I think Dave Chaffee's going to win.
Okay. All right. Well.
So, and I've traveled with Dave, and let me tell you a funny Dave story. We're going to Russia. And for some reason, I forget why, we had to fly into a town and then drive 3 hours because there was problem with flights or whatever. It's me, my wife, Dave Chaffee, someone else, a couple of Russians, interpreters, and we're driving through Russia. And we get stopped at one of these police checkpoints. And the guy's like, oh, it's no biggie, just hold on. He gets out. The next thing you know, they're looking in the car. I'm starting to get nervous. I'm thinking, like, bad things are going to happen. They open up the door. I'm thinking, what, are we smuggling drugs? They pulled Dave Chaffee out, and I'm thinking it's over. Like, they're pulling us out of this van. Yeah. And the freaking police officer recognized Dave Chaffee as an arm wrestler and just wanted he wanted a photo.
Oh, you're kidding me.
I'm like, oh, my God, I cannot believe this is happening in the middle of nowhere. I mean, we're like in the middle of nowhere. I'm like, oh my God, this is just crazy. Cool. It was crazy.
Dave is one of those guys that I think, like, there is no better word than just strong to characterize Dave Chaffee. Yes. I don't think he has a traditional shape about him.
True.
He's just that strong.
He's him and Richard Lipkiss. They're the same animal.
Yeah.
I love Richard to death. I love David to death. They're both ungodly strong.
Do you call it a top roll, a hook? What do you call it that he does?
He just.
I'm just going.
Yeah, I call it a piston.
His twisting power. I remember I did an interview with Dave Chaffee a year or two ago, and Dave Chaffee told me about his sledgehammer training.
Oh.
Now, I can hold a sledgehammer. At the time, I don't know what I can do now, but back then I used to be able to hold an 8-pound sledgehammer and get some reps.
Right.
Dave's doing a 25-pound sledgehammer reps. Now,
how far? Like 3 foot out? Like a regular hammer?
25-pound sledgehammer.
Yeah, well, that's just stupid. Right?
and it's, the physics of that, it's not just a 13-pound or whatever difference.
No.
It's multiplication.
It's magnified.
Yeah. So
further out.
His twisting power is just, and hence no one can really force him into a deep hook. I saw John do it at the Russian A1. But
and that was after the death match that he had with Saplinkov.
Yeah. So Dave's really the only guy that's looked stronger than Saplinkov in a stopped match that I've ever seen.
Then you need to look at the footage between Richard Lupkes and Saplinkov. Richard Lupkes at the Arnold did the exact same thing. Yeah. Richard
did Dave ever pulled Richard Lupkes?
I don't believe so, but that
Jesus had to be
because I think it's so hard to know who's stronger, the guy that benches 500 or the guy that benches 501, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I think Richard was probably stronger than
at his best.
I really believe it.
Yeah, I saw Richard weighing, or I think Shirley is Richard's wife.
Yeah.
Posted the other day with Richard weighing 340 pounds.
Yeah.
And he's lean as hell. Lean. That's a big dude.
That's a big dude. He stayed at our house one time on the way down to a tournament in Vegas or whatever it was, and that man can eat.
I bet.
And we went to the gym together, and he's doing pull-ups with hundreds of pounds hanging off his body and doing dips with hundreds of pounds hanging off his body. I get on a sit-down row machine, where there's pins. He just puts it at the bottom, starts going like this. Let's go, goes like this. Let's go. I mean, it's crazy.
He is absolutely crazy.
Yeah.
Alrighty, ladies and gents, we are going to take a break right here, and we're going to be back again very shortly with more from Bob Brown. There's the cheer for Bob.
Yay. Whether you like it or not.
Alrighty, guys, we are back. We're with Bob Brown. We were just before the break, we were talking about Dave Chaffee, Richard Lupkes, Russian A1, and we touched on Saplinkov. The whole climate shifted when Andrei Pushkar died. Yes. He was number one.
He was the man.
Saplinkov was kind of number two in a lot of people's eyes. We had Levan on the rise. We had Dave Chaffee looking dominant. But so much has changed in the last 12 months. Who do you see as the top three guys out there right now?
Who I think would win in a super match format, best of 5 or 6, one-on-one, is Michael Todd.
Michael Todd?
Would beat everyone in the world, one-on-one, everybody.
Yeah.
Now, especially when I saw Levan's wrist get cracked back, and everyone's going, his wrist never got cracked back. Dude, look at the video. His wrist opened up and cracked back. Michael Todd will beat him I think he'll beat him the very first match, not just wait to tire him out in the 4th match. He's going to do it right from the get-go. And then, but that's a functionality of styles. After that, I'll say Levan, I'll say Dave Chaffee, and a fully prepared Travis Bagent. Because I think Travis can still out-top roll. All these great top rollers that are in, he can still out-top roll them. I think Travis could probably out-top roll Levan. His hit would be so hard that he's not going to hit him to the pad, but he's going to hit him and crack the wrist here, and then Levan's going to have to fight from that, and he's not going to be able to.
I like that you said Travis. To me, I think Travis cops a lot of heat unnecessarily. I think he's still totally relevant. Totally relevant.
Yeah, he's just annoying.
Yeah. And I agree, if there was money and he was motivated, I think because for me, the undeniable thing that Travis is the best at worldwide is winning the setup and the go.
Oh,
he wins that.
Absolutely, he wins that, and He's brilliant at it.
He's probably not as strong as those guys, but because he wins the setup and the go,
right,
it tips things towards his favor.
Exactly. If when he beat Dave Chaffee in that WAL.
Yeah.
I mean, if those guys would just grip and slowly build pressure, Dave
Travis
wins.
would have been crushed.
Yeah, but the way and don't get me wrong, in this motion, Travis is freight trainingly strong.
Yeah.
Freight trainingly strong. Which takes everyone out of position. So, I mean, his strength is incredible. Just
and
not
if
sideways.
we see Saplinkov get back to health, do you think he can beat Levan? Given that he will straight away slot back into PAL.
Honestly, I have no idea, because the truth is I have no idea how strong Levan is.
Yeah,
we have seen some top rollers hang him up a little bit.
Because you're right. And it's nothing against Levan, but
No.
Levan rose at a time where he was coming up under Andre,
Right.
and he was also coming up under Saplinkov.
Yep.
Andre died, Saplinkov got sick.
Yep.
And so he ended up only having to beat Larratt to be seen as the man.
As the man, right.
So he is the man.
He has not actually been...
We haven't seen...
He hasn't been tested by a known product.
Yeah.
It's not like with bench pressing. Look, if you get over 700 pounds, we know you're a freak of nature, right? It's different when you don't know how much the bar weighs.
Yeah. So Chaffee will be his first real... legitimate
Yep. And
match.
that match will probably answer the question of how do we think Levan would have done Pushkar, because when Pushkar pulled Chaffee, fresh for fresh, everyone healthy, Pushkar won. So if Chaffee beats Levan, everyone is going to say Pushkar is the greatest.
I do think Pushkar deserves the title of perhaps the strongest there has been.
I don't disagree with that.
Yeah. I mean, I heard you ask John the other day, how many people have a winning record on you? Andre was one of the ones that John said.
That's right.
And he was only 33 when he died too.
Right.
So there was upside still.
He still had some upside left.
Yeah. Not left arm. I'd say Saplinkov is better left arm. I think Pushkar only beat him once or something left.
Right.
But Andre was just banging people.
Yep.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So you think Chaffee's going to beat Levan in the top 8?
Yep.
So given that they're on the same side of the draw, you think anyone can stop Larratt? Or is he going to be in the final again?
I think he'll just be in the final again. And now Larratt, with that high, crazy, hard top roll, is going to give the same problems.
Well, he's got Krasimir Kostadinov as an opening round.
I think he'll out top roll Krasi and beat him.
Yep.
But whether Levan wins or Dave Chaffee wins, I say they're in the final against Larratt, and both of those guys are going to have a problem against Larratt.
Yeah.
Because once that hand opens up, that wrist cracks back.
You think Larratt will adjust enough? Let's say he faces Levan again, given what Levan did last time, kind of contained, post. Right. He lost his wrist a bit, but then got control.
I think Layton, am I saying that right? Layton's ability to create back pressure has the ability to make more gains than Levan's ability to stop it.
Yeah.
So given enough time, the top roller generally always wins.
Yeah.
Because
I hate it. I do agree that it's hard to hold on to top rollers when the physicality is even.
Right.
Top rollers tend to crack hands.
I crack hands.
You got to be a more physical guy to be able to say no.
Right. I mean the muscle groups to create back pressure are generally, given enough time, stronger than the little muscles to create hand pressure.
Yeah.
So that's why the strap was invented.
Yeah.
Because you couldn't hold on to each other.
Yeah. Bob, are you a fan of PAL or WAL, or you love both? Where does it sit for you?
Oh, I love them all. I mean, I wish the PAL put on a better show, because their show is like watching paint dry. The WAL puts on a great show. It's entertaining. I mean, they can both be tweaked a little bit, but the WAL does a much better show. the caliber of arm wrestlers at both of them are incredible. I think it sucks that you probably won't ever see a PAL guy arm wrestle a WAL guy. Although
Chaffee's our one.
Well, Chaffee's one.
He's our only exception to that rule. And I don't know what the goings on are with him and WAL, whether he's still in good standing, let's say.
Right.
Can he come back? I imagine he could. I don't know. I haven't heard of any animosity between them. So
no, I would, if I'm the WAL, I will welcome him back with open arms, especially if he wins.
Yeah.
You know, I mean.
Yeah. Obviously, the fact that he lost to Michael Todd and Devon Larratt in the WAL is an interesting story. But a lot of people will say it's because of the WAL rules and style that he lost. A lot of people say, could Devon Larratt beat Dave Chaffee in top 8? I think it maybe, yeah. I think Devon knows how to, but it'd be harder because of the smaller pads.
Right. So the biggest, and what it is with the bigger and smaller pads is the distance that the top roller can get away from the hooker or from the side pressure guy. The further you can separate. I remember the day they showed those pads, the 9x9s. I walked up to them. I said, you instantly gave every top roller an advantage. Yeah. Because the top roller can now drag back 2 inches further away from that guy. Yeah. And 2 inches is freaking huge. Yeah. I say you put Dave Chaffee against Travis. Devon, thank you. God damn it. You bring them you force them to be just 2 inches closer. Yeah. That's a totally different game.
Yeah, less running and more hooking going on.
That's right.
Yeah, it's interesting the way. I think it was Travis and Devon that designed or that influenced the original design.
Wait a minute. You're telling me top rollers originally designed something to favor a top roller?
Is Devon a top roller? Devon was an inside pull for a long time.
Devon can go anywhere. I'll give Devon can go anywhere. He's legit. He's a legitimate monster hooker, monster top roller, very great tactician. Yeah. I mean, he can transition on the table. I mean, you picking him to teach you technique, and whether he taught it to you or more so you just learned it from him because you can learn real fast. Yep. Perfect person to watch. Yeah. And then strength, perfect person to pay attention to is Todd Hutchings. You know, would I listen to Todd about technique? Maybe not so much. Sorry, Todd. Love you, brother. But those two guys, listening to them is the perfect way to go.
You mentioned two people there, Devon Larratt, Todd Hutchings. You were in Todd Hutchings' corner at WAL 501.
I had a little too much to drink that night, barely.
I actually love the rivalry that I see between you and Devon Larratt at WAL events. I find it hilarious. That is one of the
best. Behind the scenes, I mean, I talk to Devon all the time. I love Devon. I consider him a very good friend. I believe he considers me a very good friend. Yeah. But we don't. Good friends can give shit shows to each other and get away with it because you're good friends.
You respect each other.
You know, and that's what we do. You know.
So I love that. Seeing that, I think it's hilarious. I love the way Devon was at you and said, "Your boy quit first round," but like the reality was, Todd Hutchings pinned Devon first round.
He pinned him 3 different times. I've got screenshots that spanned 3 seconds, 3 full seconds of him below that line. Yeah. You got Devon's forearm. And even if you question that, look at the picture. Devon's forearm is laying flat on the elbow pad. The pad that his elbow's on, he's backed up. His arm is flat on the elbow pad. I don't care where your wrist is. That needs to be a damn pin. You can't go no further down.
I agree. I don't know what happened. The pressure of the moment, the down ref didn't call it. She was waiting for the head ref to call it, and then they missed that window. Excuse me. But it was a pin. Even Devon said it was a pin. Oh, yeah. Afterwards, he's like, it was a pin.
And all of a sudden, so now call that pin. All the wear and tear on Todd's arm isn't there anymore. Yeah. And he's super fresh as a daisy. In my opinion, he does the exact same thing again. I mean, the exact same movement straight down to the pad again. Yeah. And now in the third match, Devon's going to adjust. And I still think Devon probably would have won that thing 3-2. Yeah. But
it would have been much closer.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. And I mean, Todd's, from an arm standpoint, is way stronger than Devon. Yeah. It's just that hand. But as we just discussed, back pressure.
Well, that's it. To quote Devon Larratt, it is certainly a windy path to the top. There is the fact that we don't get to ever turn back time and try something different.
Right.
It's the only way we can measure success is on the table. Are you winning? And there are people who have gotten all the way to the top of that winning process with table time only.
Yep.
Then you got people like Todd who just lives in the grind of the gym.
Yep.
And everything in between.
Everything in between.
You've been friends with a lot of people that have made it to the top. Who's right in your opinion? Who's most right? If you're building a crop of future champions, what do you instruct them to do?
You get strong in the gym. You learn how to arm wrestle on the table, but you have to bring your strength together in the gym on the table. John Brzenk, in my opinion, could have been much stronger than he actually was.
Yeah.
If he would have adopted more in the gym time. But gym time's boring.
He hates the gym, doesn't he?
He hates the gym. Yeah. The only time he went to the gym is me and him were trying to work on our bench press one time for about 6 or 8 months. We went to the gym 2-3 times a week.
Yep.
You know, and
so if Devon Larratt went and trained like Todd Hutchings for 2 years,
he would make huge gains.
You think he would he would go to the next level?
Yes.
And if Todd Hutchings stepped out of the gym and just went and arm wrestled with someone like Devon and did nothing else, you think he would be a better arm wrestler?
There's careful words. Would he be a better arm wrestler?
Would he get better results? Would he get better results?
Yes, because as soon as you transition to something new, you're going to have a spike in gains.
Yeah.
If Todd Hutchings did nothing but arm wrestle once a week for the next 6 months, I think the gains he would make on the table would be better than if he just went to the gym right now, because he's made huge gains through the gym. And he's still making gains, but an incremental amount, like 1%, 2%. Now, if you can now learn how to get better angles, Todd Hutchings, wearing your vector shirt, you know, I've told Todd 100 times at practice, top roll. I don't care what you're doing, top roll. Hold people in top roll. Someone's easy, just hold them in a top roll, give it away, take it back. Get that be second nature. You know, me, John, and Todd stood right there, a half a bottle of whiskey into it, talking about training. John's like table time only. Todd's, you know, going to the gym. And I said, Todd, your hook is so far above everyone else's in WAL in the 195-pound class. No one else's hook is even close. Train your top roll. Just top roll. Just top roll. John said, stick with what you're good at. I'm like, no, you just should be top rolling. Well, now he jumped up into the heavyweight division. He should have stuck with his top rolling.
Yeah. You know? It is interesting. I love the sport that it is this, and we get this one crack at it, and we allocate whatever we think. And like I started out in the Devon Larratt School of Full of Thought, 4 years only table time, effectively. Yeah. I then realized I needed some side pressure and started getting in the gym. Didn't know how to be in the gym. Eventually worked it out. Todd took over.
Right.
And honestly, now I'm trying to do Todd's scientific basis of how to get strong with a table time emphasis as part of it.
Perfect.
Yeah.
And if you really, I've said this too, I mean, if you really understand the philosophy of arm wrestling, or I'm sorry, the philosophy of getting strong, which is what Todd Hutchings does, it can be applied on the table. If you watch how John arm wrestles, how he trains, and you watch, and you just said their philosophies, they're basically the same.
Yeah.
Todd does single rep maximums and goes to failure. He does plyometrics.
Yep.
He does them with bands and chains and whips and sexy toys. John does it on the table. John gets on the table, lets someone grab him. John just tightens everything up and holds and goes until you quit. And then he grabs another one and goes until they quit. Eventually, John dies, you know. So he went to 100% maximum, sheer exhaustion. It just took a little longer. Then he'll sit down for 15 minutes. He'll come back and do it again.
And he's getting plyometrics when people are swinging on him.
Because they're swinging on him.
Yeah.
Okay. Then, when he wants to do a true one-rep maximum, he's like, Bob, come over here. I grab him with 2 arms, and he just fires back as hard as he possibly can for as long as he can, which, is 15, 20 seconds, whatever. And then to get the mental aspect of it in. Because if you're not tricking your brain to get out of your own way of training, you're not reaching your full potential.
Yeah.
So me and John, this is what I used to like to do, is I'd grab him with two hands and I'd start working his wrist, and it'd be like, okay, I'm going to hold him like this until I think I can let go and all of a sudden have a fight. Because the second you can have a fight, adrenaline spikes.
Yep.
And all of a sudden it's like, whoa, this is real. And both of you go harder than you normally would go.
When you have that true balance, you feel different things too.
Oh, you definitely feel different things.
Being bullied feels rubbish. You can't learn much. And being the bully, you don't learn anything either.
100%. The best guy to train with is the guy who's your equal.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I can't tell you the number of times I'd be like this.
Yeah.
Nope, not yet. no, not yet. And then finally, as soon as I got it, I was like, yes. And then we could mess around, and it was exciting.
No, that's cool. Yeah, well, I like where arm wrestling's positioned right now with top 8 coming up. WAL's about to start. I feel like the sport's in a good place, and it's exciting. The season, seeing John back in is truly exciting for all of the sport. Seeing Dave against Levan, another big thing that everyone's going to look forward to this year.
Yeah.
And on a lower note, the explosion of the internet and the ability for new audiences to see the sport.
Oh.
We talked about it. A lot of people are critical of the Juji Mufus and Larry Wheels and Eddie Hall's pulling, but they're bringing audiences, aren't they?
They're bringing audiences. We said it the other day. The WAL needs to set up Eric Mendelson.
Scott Mendelson
against Eric Spoto.
Yeah.
I joined them. Yeah. Both of those guys independently, and I'll bet most of the people watching right now know who Mendelson is.
Yeah.
I'll bet most of them don't know who Spoto is.
Yeah.
But the entire bench pressing community and power strength community knows Eric Spoto.
And that's a bigger community.
And that's a bigger community because Eric Spoto broke Mendelson's world record for bench press.
A lot of arm wrestlers get protective of their sport. A lot of arm wrestlers say, no, you can't put Juji Mufu against Larry Wheels.
Absolutely.
Because they're not good arm wrestlers, which in reality, it's true.
Right.
Sam Harris would kick the ass of either one of those guys.
Right.
But I feel like arm wrestlers need to look to the greater good.
Yeah, so, and it is the greater good. If you bring in Mendelson and Spoto and put them against each other, you're going to bring in 1 million new viewers, strength viewers that are going to watch our sport.
What would you do with the winner?
Then you take that winner and put him up against a real arm wrestler, and all of a sudden, so then in the second show,
a mid-level arm wrestler.
I'd put him against a stud. I'd put him against a monster.
Okay,
and that way, the million new viewers are going to view back in because they just saw Eric Spoto beat Mendelson, which, by the way, Eric Spoto would beat Mendelson. And all those people are going to watch again. Yeah. But now they're going to watch him get smashed by a real arm wrestler, and all of a sudden,
questions.
From actual strength people are going to be like, oh my God, these arm wrestlers are strong.
It's actually you're spot on, and there's proof of that happening on my YouTube channel right now. A couple of weeks ago, Derek Smith pulled Larry Wheels on the side table.
Yes.
At LA FitX or whatever.
Yep.
And Derek was beating him comfortably. Obviously, a lot of people watched that because Larry made a video about it. And so everyone's now asking, who's this Derek Smith guy? I have a video of Derek Smith pulling John.
Right.
And John looking like he's turning the Sunday paper.
Exactly.
and everyone's like, hang on, this is the dude that just crushed Larry. Who's this old man that's crushing
exactly.
him?
I mean,
so the questions are being asked now by people that have never seen the sport before.
They've never seen the sport. And all of a sudden, Derek Smith, no disrespect, but not a monster in our sport.
No.
He is, for a brief period of time, a god to the
Larry Wheel
fans.
Yeah.
And now they're just learning.
That there's layers.
That there's way more layers.
The funny thing is, there's layers between Derek and John. Many layers.
Many layers. Many layers.
Because we kind of went straight to the top layer there with John. But
right, exactly. And that's the thing. That, in the beginning, we need to show the world that arm wrestling is like, you can't just step into this sport and think you're a badass, right?
Yeah.
So you put these two guys against these two bench pressers against each other, or the Larry Wheels and the Gigi Mufu. You put them against each other. Then you show this guy get beat by a monster or by anyone who is going to beat them.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, you've earned a respect from hundreds of thousands of other people. Then you start to show the layers, and you keep these hundreds of thousands of people interested.
And you can always hit reset and refresh and start with another two famous athletes at any time.
At any time. I think part of the reason Devon Larratt is so famous is because he beat Shaquille O'Neal on TV.
Yeah, that's true. And the mountain.
The mountain.
Yeah, Thor.
Exactly.
Yeah. I think that Thor video was so stupidly viral.
Right.
Because it confused people.
Exactly.
Who's this dude beating the world's strongest man?
Exactly.
Yeah.
How's this skinny guy beating the world's strongest man?
Yeah, but I'm going to leave it there.
All
really
right,
good chat, man.
Yeah.
Really appreciate
Hold on.
it.
Look, it goes, no, you got to let it go back because I'm not strong. See, now that would just be beautiful.
Especially without a strap, I'd be struggling.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Anyway, guys, thank you very much for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed the chat. I really did. And no doubt we'll do it again soon, Bob.
Hope I didn't piss off too many people. Wait for it.
Hey, all right, guys. See you next time.
See ya.
Yes, that's a man!